bonjour. Vous allez bien? Je vais parler en français parce qu'il ne m'écoute pas, donc ça me permet de parler en français, d'être moins ridicule. I say it in French because it will be better for you. Moi, je suis ravi que Tony vienne nous voir ici. Ça fait la deuxième fois qu'il vient nous voir. Il y a un petit peu d'écho, je m'excuse. Moi, j'ai connu Tony il y a quelques années parce qu'il est venu à Paris habiter un an. So you lived in Paris during 1 year, and we met at this time. And 5 years ago, long time ago.
Is this working? No?
Yeah. Et on s'est connus à ce moment-là parce que Tony était venu à Paris et il s'ennuyait un peu parce qu'il trouvait qu'il n'y avait pas d'entreprise technologique à Paris. Et puis un jour, un ami commun me dit « Vois-le ». Et il est venu au bureau, il a vu qu'on faisait de l'électronique et du soft et il a trouvé ça pas mal. Et voilà, et ce jour-là, on est devenus plutôt copains. Et puis malheureusement, il est parti créer sa boîte aux US. Qui s'appelle Nest. Il est parti faire ça. Alors il ne comprend pas ce que je dis, mais donc je vais vous dire en français, Tony c'est mon héros, c'est le mec le plus génial que je trouve sur cette terre, puisque au-delà d'avoir inventé tous les trucs qu'on a dans nos poches, vous savez, qui commencent par une lettre qui s'appelle A, et je le dis pas exprès pour qu'ils ne comprennent pas ce que je dis, il a inventé un truc qui commence par I. So I say, all you have done without any words, so you can't understand what I say. Après avoir inventé donc un truc qui commençait par un I, il a inventé un autre truc qui commençait par un I qui était pas mal non plus. Et après, il est parti de cette grande maison, donc moi je l'ai vu à Paris, puis à Paris il m'a raconté qu'il voulait faire des choses dans l'énergie. Il a ensuite créé une société qui commence par un N, et où il a inventé un thermostat qui est un truc absolument fantastique, avant d'inventer autre chose, qui est un détecteur de fumée. Maintenant je vais dire en français, you understand now. Et puis inventer plein de choses. Donc c'est pour moi, ce que je rêve que vous deveniez tous, c'est d'être des gens capables d'inventer ce type de produit, capables de se projeter sur ce qu'est l'avenir. Alors, j'ai la chance d'avoir Tony comme ami et j'espère que c'est réciproque. Donc on se connaît depuis de longue date et j'espère que ça va continuer. Donc soyez sages et gentils avec lui, qu'il revienne l'année prochaine. Et donc j'ai vraiment envie que vous l'écoutiez, la manière, ce qu'il peut avoir à vous dire et la manière dont il fonctionne et la manière dont il est capable de raisonner, parce que c'est exactement les choses que j'aimerais que vous soyez à même de comprendre et d'entendre, quel que soit vos parcours, que vous soyez chez 42, que ça se passe pas bien, que vous soyez ailleurs, mais la manière dont vous soyez à même de comprendre et de créer des produits et d'être capable d'avoir une vision qui dépasse le produit qu'on est capable de créer demain. So, I've said only bad things about you. Now, it's you. You can speak. And again, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Xavier's English is much, much better than my French, so I'm sorry, I will not be speaking French today. But no, I literally, Xavier, back in December, November, said, when you come to Paris, I'd like to show you École 42.
42.
Yes, 42. And I said, what is this? And then you brought me. And my jaw dropped when I saw this, and I was like, this is an amazing place, amazing people, amazing ideas, amazing ways to learn. And when I said I was coming back, because I haven't been back since December, but when I was coming back, I said I have to come back. I have to come back because I was so energized by what I saw. And now what I see with the expansion and what's going on, I'm even more energized. And I'm trying to figure out how we can replicate this somewhere else, hopefully, maybe somewhere in the States, somewhere else. Because why? This is so important. We are so short of amazing talent to build what we need to build the world around us. We're all engineers. There's all kinds of interesting things to do and all kinds of different careers to have. But the world around us was all built by engineers, with passionate engineers, building things. Before, it was just nature. Everything around was built by engineers. And now we're in the information engineering, right? And you are the next generation. You know, we may be, what have you, higher up in the rankings today, but we'll be gone one day. You will be here. Because you're here. Hopefully leading the next generation as well. So I make sure that people gave to me, you know, my education and mentored me. And I love to just be here amongst you to help you. So that's why I'm here. is if I can help, I want to help. So literally this is nothing, there's no sales pitch, there's no nothing else, except I'm just here, and I'm here to answer your questions. It's that simple. So if you have questions, let's go. It's that simple. So 3D printing, 3D printing has been around since the 1990s. It's nothing new in terms of from what I've seen. What's new about it is that it has become democratized. It's become cheap enough, just like printing. We've always had printing presses, but then when the laser printer came, it democratized high-quality printing. We're almost getting to high-quality printing of 3D. So it's allowing people to explore and change things. I think there's a lot of problems with the tools. I think there's still a lot of problems with the materials. But 3D printing is absolutely going to happen. And it is happening. It's going to take some time. So if you see the maker bots of the world today, those are the Apple IIs of what the 3D printing revolution is going to become. It's very, very nascent, but it's absolutely going to happen, and it's going to happen in many different ways we don't see it today. Because today it's all about printing. Tomorrow it's really going to be about domain-specific actions. Is it about printing fabrics or, for textiles, or is it going to be about hard goods, or is it going to be about biology, right? Today I actually went to a lab where, not today, but just a couple weeks ago, where we're printing leather, literally printing leather with 3D print. No longer do we need to go through the entire chain and all the CO2 that's produced and all of the intense natural resources to produce shoes or bags or what have you. So those things are coming. And absolutely, to me, if I was starting, I would be looking for those disruptive innovations, just like the Apple II was. And learning about it, but it's not going to happen like that. It's really hobbyist still, but it'll get there. So if you're thinking about that, it's on the right track, but it's not really big yet, but it's going to get there. Come on, I know. Yes.
What do you think about the
Oculus Rift. So I've been in it. I've been in it. There's a company called Servios, where I put that on and I put things in my hand, kind of like this, and I had a backpack on. And I literally would go in and play a role-playing game, and I could see my hands and see my feet, and I could, shoot things and kill things and what have you. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Again, we had much of that technology in 1989 when I was in college. We had VR technology. It was crude, of course, but it's on its way. Did anyone see Google Cardboard?
Yeah.
You guys see Google Cardboard? Right? So take the leap from Oculus Rift and go to $25 Google Cardboard plus the device in your pocket, right? This one, you go clip. Then we have 3D, right? And it's democratized Oculus Rift. It's going to be a wonderful experience. It is isolating, but it can also be transformative. So absolutely, is that something new that's coming? Yes, but there's going to be, we tried to build something like that a long time ago at some of my previous companies. The thing you have to be very careful of, though, is that it can only be used in certain instances. It has to be where you're protected. You can use it only where it's inside of a building where it's secure. You can't obviously walk with it or what have you. So, maybe you're on a plane, you're probably not on a train, and in your home, maybe in your office. So I think that there'll be gaming applications just like we have gaming today. But I think there's going to be a lot of applications that are in industry. Many more visualizations in industry is where it's really going to get started and where Oculus Rift is going to really go, because it's very expensive today. But Google Cardboard or something like it will be the thing that we all use on a different, daily. What if your Facebook profile or your image online, you could do like this, you can see around the person's head. People use it. So I think it's coming, but again, this is, just like the 3D printing, it's just another evolution over the last 25 years now of the technology. So we're just about there.
How did you get the idea of starting Nest?
Nest.
No plan or...
So this actually happened so I was designing a house for my family. And I wanted to always become an architect. So I decided to try to be an architect, hire an architect, but try to be an architect. And I want this because it's engineering in a way. It's also design. And so I went through all the systems in the home and where there was innovation and there was no innovation. And then I also was concerned about energy consumption. So energy consumption, resource consumption, and being also connected. Because I was designing the house at the same time before this came out. And when you see this and you start using it, you understand that this is the interface to your world. It will be in 10 years. This is the interface to your world. It's the first screen, not the second screen. It's the way you do everything. And it's going to be the way everyone does everything, first here. And so I wanted to design a home understanding that this was it. How would you change your home if this was your interface to your home? And through that, I found the thermostat problem. And then here, while I was here in Paris, I was going through the different musées and spending time. I had to get out of Silicon Valley because people have said, oh, you should make more music. You should, more music technology. You should make more communications technology. And that's when the worlds collided. Because I lived in a home here. I lived one in south of France. I lived in one in Spain, another one in different parts of the world when I was traveling around. And I found out that not just in the US did we have we had a problem, but everywhere in all the homes around the world, we had the same problems of innovation in those products. And I said, wait a second, this is a global problem. It needs to be solved with smartphone technology. Okay, could be a good business, and it's a lot of fun, and I need one for home. So let's go.
And what's your next product?
Ah, yes. Wouldn't you like to know? More the same. No, really, the next products from us is we have a new product, or new program platform called Works with Nest. And so we now have, when we did Google I/O, we had a Google I/O live stream about our APIs and everything. I couldn't believe this. We had 31,000 programmers tuned in on the live stream to learn about our APIs and how they can work with us. So I'm looking forward to all kinds of great stuff from all kinds of great minds, such as yourselves, creating the next great things. So that's really, to me, it's about the platform now. It's not just about the individual products we do, but what else people can do. I think we're using our imaginations today of what we can do. I think we're far off from, maybe not the organ side. Actually, that's more, the construction side's a lot harder because there's a lot of economics issues. But when you want to save your life, you'll pay anything, right? People will pay anything. So I don't think there's an economics issue with the biological kind of uses of 3D printing. But I think to replace everyday objects, if you print something as simple as a belt buckle today, it costs you 20, 30 times what it could be if you just manufacture with straight manufacturing techniques. So I think it's going to take some time and us to figure out the right system there. But it'll come. So you have to look at the economics of each of the various industries you're trying to disrupt with that 3D printing technology to really understand if it's going to be now or in 10 years from now or 20 years or next year. You just have to look at the economics as well as the technology. I don't think we should use Nest as an example because, let's go back in my career. So in my career, I started in Silicon Valley 24 years ago, in 1991. And even before Silicon Valley, I had my own startups. I had 2 startups, an educational software startup, 3 startups. Educational software startup, a microprocessor company, and also a mail order company. Before there was e-commerce, there was such thing as mail order. Remember? And so when you start those kinds of companies, when I started and you don't have as many network connections and you don't have as much success underneath you, so people don't know to trust you, the biggest thing that you can do is find other people who believe in your idea or a collective idea, and you start together. That's the hardest thing, is finding that. And if you can get that spark, then you can start to draw in other people who appreciate the idea and may be able to help in some way. When we started Nest, I had already, I had 20 years of experience in Silicon Valley, success. People were falling over themselves to give you money and try to work with you. Very, very different. But it was very hard when I was younger to get started, as Xavier as well, right? It's very hard when you start, and it takes tenacity. It takes real hard work, not just smarts. Success is 50% about what you know and how hard you work at it, and the other part is 50% of who you know and who you can get involved to help you. So when you're in this audience today, a lot of you will be working together. Maybe in your next thing, maybe you'll start a startup together. Maybe you'll do some things. It's this network that maybe not today is exactly like you're working together, maybe on projects, but not as a company. But in 5 years, 10 years from now, how do you work together, right? When we first started Nest, it was a crazy idea. Who the hell wanted to buy a thermostat, right? A crazy thermostat. My wife even said, a thermostat? Are you nuts? Right here in Paris, when I was pitching the idea. Right here in Paris, I pitched the idea. She's like, no. But it's other people who understand your intellect, and those people who understand your intellect who have worked with you, whether that's through an educational setting or a business setting, those are the ones who go, yes, I understand what you mean. Let's do that. Let's do that together. And it just takes the belief in yourself and the belief in the idea to get started. But it's very hard. But it's well worth it. It's because you're living your dream. And I had tons of failure. Look, Nest, success, yes. iPod, sure, whatever. But the project right before iPod, a tremendous disaster. An absolute disaster. When I showed up in Silicon Valley working with the team that created the Macintosh, the team that created the Macintosh had their own startup. It was $1 billion loss. It was a big disaster. It was my first real startup, besides the ones I did myself. But the ones that were first real startup, a disaster. And you're going to go through many disasters. But sooner or later, if you keep learning and you keep applying, you'll be able to pull yourself up, and other people will recognize it because you don't give up easily. And they want to join your team, or you want to join their team, or what have you. And then it starts. It doesn't always come like that. Snapchat, yeah? Well, guess what? For every Snapchat, there's 10,000 startups that failed. Maybe 100,000. It's not that easy. And if you look at most successful entrepreneurs who start their own companies, it's not when they're 20. It's not when they're 25. It's when they're 35 and older. That's because we invest all the time. If you're investing I invest in young companies as well, but 35 and older, the success rate is much higher because of their network, their hard-earned skills, right? Hard-earned lessons. Those are the kinds of things, and building your network, right? Building your network over that time. So, because you start now, maybe you'll get lucky, and I hope some of you do, and get incredibly wealthy, and I hope you'll come to Xavier and ask him to invest and help this 42 keep going. But that's what it's about. Some will be, just a few will make it big, but you persevere, and success usually comes to happen as long as you stay engaged and you stay learning all the time. And make sure you're not like somebody special. You just come in and humble, right? This is a perfect example.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Get back.
Okay.
Be careful.
Now let me tell you about Xavier. So at a certain point in Nest's gestation, as it was growing up, it was wonderful in the early days. So in the first 2 years, 3 years. And I got to do all the things I loved to do. And a few things I didn't like to do. And then as we grew, and we got more people, and we needed more things, my job turned from being a product CEO to a process and infrastructure CEO. I had to worry about facilities and all the human resources and all the legal issues and all of these things, and I didn't get to do the things I loved. I didn't get to do just, working with engineers and designers and marketing people and building experiences and new products. I was busy doing all kinds of other things that weren't as intellectually stimulating for me. So with Google now, we have a ton of resources to do those other things. So when I need to open an office in like Paris, or when we just did in London, they already had offices, right? We need a treasury, we need finance. Boom, it's right there. And the other thing that you get is lots of smart people around, so we can go and talk to those people, because we're solving a problem. Usually somewhere in some part of Google, they've solved the problem, so we can go find them, we can collaborate, and learn from them. So all of these things allowed me to go back to being what I love to do and allowed us to flourish even and move faster. So it's been a really wonderful relationship. It's been 5 months now, and I'm happier than ever, actually. No regrets. It's been great. Hopefully that answered your question? No. I understand what you're saying. You're saying don't worry about getting to the next step. Follow your passion. Well, there's two sides to that. I believe it and I don't believe it. And let me tell you why. You have to know what your vision is. You want to have a vision because you want to get people on board who want to believe that vision. So you have to have a bold vision to get investors, to get other people to join, those kinds of things. So it's very important to have the vision. But as a leader, you also have to understand how to get from that vision through the individual little steps, lots of little steps to get there, right? So a journey starts with the first step, even a journey of years and years, decades. You have to take the first step, and you have to know which direction you want to go. So you have to think big, but then act quickly and small, learn fast. Fail fast, learn fast. And you keep doing that, and maybe that vision over here moved a little bit over here or moved a little bit here, but you navigate. Okay? So you have to blend both vision with execution and making sure you get to the next step. I didn't run in this in my career until 2002 with the iPod. And starting with the iPad, when you have success, the trolls come out. And literally at Apple, we got sued every single week. Another company came after us every single week. At Nest, no more than 10 weeks after we launched our first product, sued. We've gotten sued multiple times. Anything that has some success will get sued, and you have to make sure that you build your team accordingly, your defensive patent portfolio accordingly. In the end of the day, though, companies that can't innovate, they litigate. So your only job that you can do is continue to out-innovate and protect your flanks, protect behind you with some patents, and keep running. And make sure you have good counsel to help defend that off. But yes, patent trolls are an issue, and they don't seem to go away anytime soon. But do I believe in patents? Absolutely. I don't believe in copycats, and I don't believe in people who take patents and then they don't make society better with them. They just sit on them and they stifle innovation. That is a real problem. So there's a good part and there's a bad part. So if you're successful, you just have to understand how it is and get good counsel to help you get around this. I think it will clear itself out over time. Bad patents are really the issue, but it's going to take a while. But it is the game we have to play. It wasn't that way in the 90s, but it's such high stakes now that it's unfortunate, but true. Yeah, you can't protect everything, but at the end of the day, innovation is always going to win. But don't let that deter you. Don't let it deter you from trying to start something. There's hundreds of thousands of reasons of why you shouldn't do what you do, or someone's going to come in my territory, or they're going to, I'd be worried more about your competition than worry about patent trolls. On the scale, patent trolls are down here. Competition and making sure you have the best product and experience for your customer, that's the most important thing. Over time, the customers will even see that that's, crap that these people are doing. So it's just another thing apart. That was another thing about going to Google. We had a great patent team and it was a great thing. But now when you can deal with the trolls much more effectively when you have big arms around you to help you. But it shouldn't deter you from being innovative and not starting a company. Don't let that stop you. Huh? Have great lawyers. Luckily, the person that our first person who was in our legal team was the person who was the chief intellectual property officer for Apple for a decade. So he came. We got sued, like we said, we got sued every week. Well, he and I did all those, so he came over and helped. So you got to have good legal counsel. Yeah, absolutely. Google's also doing this as well. It's cross-licensing patents. Tesla didn't necessarily give away its patents. It just said it's probably not going to sue you. right? It's a very different thing than giving away the patents. It said it's not going to sue you. It's a different story. To help promote, innovation. So is it a good idea? Absolutely, as long as Copycats are the problem, not innovation. So you have to be very careful about what is truly innovative versus what's a copycat. And you have to, that's why they didn't just give away their patents. They still have a right if somebody tries to just outright copy them and not really advance the state of the art. Very different thing. Well, no, I think the most important thing we can do is that when we, in the U.S., we have something called a spectrum auction. Do you guys know what a spectrum auction is? So it's part of the electromagnetic spectrum, like where your cell phone works or what have you. And so when you earn or auction or win the auction for a certain set of spectrum, if you don't use it properly, if you don't make a commercial deployment and make it valuable to the citizens, they can pull it back. Patents should be the same way. Today, if you're not practicing, you shouldn't be able to sue, right? So if you're practicing and you're actually innovating and helping society move forward, I think then you should own the right to that idea. But ideas are cheap. Implementation is hard, right? So if you have an idea and you shouldn't have an exclusive right to the idea if you're not bettering society. So I think that just like we do with the spectrum auctions, you may win it for a little period of time. So you have some time to capitalize on that moment and make society better. But if you don't, all bets are off. You lose it. It goes back into public domain. So people should have a benefit of advantage, but they should do it to better society, not to slow innovation and hurt small companies or what have you. How do you deal with competition? You just out-innovate. You just out-innovate. You out-innovate in experience, not just in the product, but in the experience. So you understand your competition, but don't watch them. Do what you think is right. You can, instead of like, oh, I got to copy that feature, I have to copy that feature. No, that's not the way to win. The way to win is understanding your customer's need and understanding the point of view and making sure you know what you put in and not in the product. So you make sure that you give them what they need, not necessarily what the competition does, because they're usually just feature sets. Look at Microsoft Word, right? You only use 2% of the features. But it has a feature for every single customer under the sun. But nobody really enjoys using it, right? So you got to have a good balance between what is important and essential versus what is frivolous. But just because the competition has it doesn't mean I need to have it. Well, I think I understand your question, but on your specific example, NFC wasn't really great technology. And so there's a lot of reasons why NFC failed. But to your point of when certain big companies get together to monopolize a certain technology, we'll put NFC aside, but yeah. So typically, when you get a bunch of dinosaurs together, or really big elephants in the room, they don't get along. They all try to say that they're going to do something special. It never really materializes. So I wouldn't be too scared of that. I wouldn't be too scared. Just go, and make things happen. Because typically those big companies get together, they don't really know what it takes to deliver on what they say, so they're going to need you at the end of the day anyways. So, smart and fast and agile, nimble, usually almost always wins over big elephants. Even when Samsung has multi-million dollars of marketing, you saw what happened to Samsung's numbers, right? With the cell phone thing. They're hurting themselves, just because they want market share. So you got to, doesn't mean, just because they're big doesn't mean you should be scared. Nest went after a company, and we got sued by them, who owned 80% of the market we were going after. And then we got sued by another company that owned 60% of the market. But they can't build what we build. They just can't. And they can't even copy great. It was just like Sony and the iPod. I was always worried about Sony. But you know what? That competition made me paranoid enough that our teams always leapfrogged ourselves to make a better product, and they could never catch up. And now look, where's Sony? Nokia, BlackBerry, Zune. Yeah, Zune. That was DOA, especially the brown one. It's capitalism. It's up to the entrepreneur to sell or or to stay independent.
And
I don't, you know, look, things ebb and flow, and sometimes it's a small startup, sometimes it's a large company. Look, it's just it's such a large field, and it's ever changing, that there's no fast laws to anything. You know, there's certain things in vogue one quarter, and then the next quarter there's a new thing, you know. One day it's 3D printing, the next day it's 3D virtual headgear, the next day it's Internet of the Home, or, you know, wearable this, or it changes all the time. So there's no, the one thing I've learned over the last 24 years, there are no rules, there are no rights and wrongs. There's only the environment and your place and time, and trying to hit and be at the right place at the right time. But not just, don't follow though. Lead with what you feel inside that you think is right. Don't lead by watching others. You know, what we would have done, what we did at Nest, wouldn't have done if we looked for somebody else. We did it because we believed in it, when nobody else did. That's usually when you're onto the right thing, as long as it, you know, you really understand the business and all the other stuff, you know. And then there's crazy, you know, crazy stuff like yo. Absolutely. I think, you know, the big thing about the term I hate, Internet of Things, is the fact that what we're doing is bringing communications, sensors, and data processing to all the things around us. There's so many things around us that are dumb. Look, anywhere there's something that's plugged into the wall, it gets electrons. It gets power, energy electrons. It doesn't get data electrons. What happens when anything plugged in can get data electrons too? That doesn't mean in the home, doesn't mean in your office. It means in any industry, anything whatsoever, or when you unplug it. Innovation can happen right there. And then, so what you're going to learn, you know, back in 1980, it was all about making computers and tools for computers. Now it's about bringing the tool sets of communications and data processing and all those things to all of those things that never happened. It's not about us building for ourselves. It's taking our expertise and building for others because they don't know how to you know, make a smart toilet, or I don't know, you name it, right? Because they know how to make porcelain. They don't know how to make circuitry and software and servers and connectivity and all those things, right? Right? So so you should apply your talents not just to the computer field and the things that are glamorous. You know, what we did in Nest wasn't glamorous. We made it glamorous. Because we took engineers just like yourself, smart people just like yourself, and we made something glamorous because we instilled it new life. Because we knew how to. You can do that same thing with all kinds of things that no one ever cares about anymore. Usually when nobody cares about it, that's probably the best place to start, as long as you can put magic into it. Okay? There's more than that. There's more. You know, I see it in London as well. I see it in France. I see it in Germany and Berlin. So this is something that over time is going to grow. And I think yes, you can go where Silicon Valley is. If you have a great network, that's great. But, and to get started. But maybe you have a bigger, better network here or wherever you come from. And if there's enough conditions for the environment, you know, for us to get to, you know, make our product properly for France or for another part of the world, we need to know so much about the customer. We need to know so much about their environment. We don't really know much. We have to come over here and we have to learn. You already know those things. You can already make a product that's much better for your market than somebody from over there. You may come over there to either get talent or maybe money or some advice or something like that. But it doesn't mean you have to go there to do it. You might go there to learn, but you should, you know, a lot of times come here because might be not here or wherever you're from. That place might be where the opportunity really lies. Look at Estonia, right? Estonia. Do you guys know about Estonia? Yeah. It's like it's all e-citizens, right? Everybody's got their own, you know, identification passport. They're actually a model government, right? Of what the government might look like in, God, you know, in the U.S. in 20 years, in France maybe 50 years. I don't know, But literally, they're already experimenting. You can go to Korea and see what's going on in Korea. There are many different places that are more advanced. Like, look, I came here and I go, Xavier, I have a free box. I have 1 gigabit. I'm like, this is amazing. In Silicon Valley, I'm lucky if I get 5 megabits. Silicon Valley, right? So you have a lot of the tools here that we don't even have, and that's supposedly, you know, the best place in the world. So don't sell yourself short. Your environment can be really fertile ground to create great businesses and great startups. Damn NSA. We should be worried. Absolutely, we should be worried. We should be worried about, in fact, in the US, we're worried about net neutrality. We should be worried about those things. We should have open dialogues about it. Should we, oh no, it's, you know, it's over. I don't think you need to be, you know, it's not a, as they say, pas catastrophe, right? It's not a catastrophe yet. But as long as we talk about it, it won't become that. If we let people get, if we let large companies and large businesses work with the government to make that happen, yes, it could happen. But we can rise up on Twitter, we can rise up all over, and we can make change, right? We've seen it. So I think it's a dialogue we need to have, but yes, we should be concerned, but I don't think we should be like, we're going to lose it all. I don't think we're anywhere near that point. Well, I don't want to get into too many things because they're personal, but yeah, you know, you have to. If you didn't ask, you wouldn't be doing your job. So, look, Steve was absolutely amazing. But like any person, he had his incredible strengths, genius strengths. But he also had his weaknesses, just like we all are. He's human. He was human. So, don't, you know, you know, Hollywood or whatever wants to portray people, you know, I got phone calls from him on Sunday mornings, and, you know, we talk about all kinds of different things. He was a human. He just had a knack for understanding and thinking about things slightly differently. He could take a problem, twist just slightly, and go, that's it. And you'd be like, how'd you come up with that? He also had an incredible network. All of these great people all around, because he built that over time. He built networks in New York. He built networks in personal networks, right, in LA. And all these people were his friends. And they told him all kinds of interesting things, and he could put them all together. So he had Lego blocks that no one else had. And he could put them together in different ways. So he was very smart about how to put them together. But he was also very smart about his network. And by combining those things and understanding the customer, that's where these things came out. So you can do the same thing, but your information base is about the people you know. And you know, he's got started literally when he was 22 or 21, right? And he learned and met everyone. He had such early success that he was with heads of government, heads of companies telling him all this information. And he got to learn all these things when he's very young. So imagine if you were at the height of society when you're 23, 24, and everybody wants to feed and work with you. And you do that for 20, 25 years. You become superhuman because of all the information that comes into you from all of these different ways. And you assimilate and you put together because of such tremendous experience. So yes, he was incredibly smart. He also had incredible success early. And he understood the network before there was a network. Right? And those things came together, and perseverance. Remember, we don't remember all of his failures, right? We remember his successes. You have to have both, because that's when you figure out what you're really good at and what you're really not good at, and when you need to bring people in to help. And so he just persevered year after year, and he got to the height, and he made sure he hired really, really well to be able to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So it's all kinds of different things that makes a person like that. Yeah, you know, your first five hires or whatever are usually people that really you can trust and they can trust you. You've been through it before together. You've been in that late night coding session or debugging session, and you found that thing together, and you can get along, and you have similar interests and those kinds of things. Those are going to be your first hires, and those are going to be the ones that really help you get going. Right? Because they're going to believe in your idea, or you're going to believe in theirs, and you're going to be a team. Because you really need a team. Because there's some days that are really, really dark. And you're like, why am I doing this? And there's another person on your team going, oh no, it's going to be okay. And typically, no one's ever in the same biorhythm, right? They're not all low and they're not all high at the same time. So it balances out the goods and the bads, so that you can all work together and hopefully up and to the right, as they say. If it is a problem for employers, you shouldn't go work there. No, seriously, some of the best engineers I know came from music school. Some of the best people I know, my wife, she worked for Steve Jobs for 10 years. She was head of HR for Apple. 80,000 people she was responsible for. She never even graduated from high school. Not kidding. So if you think that it's your talent and your passion, and show what you can do. France and a lot of Europe and a lot of states as well. Oh, you have to have your CV, right? Fuck that. All right. Should we leave it at that? Delete that from the camera. Delete that from the camera. But no, seriously, look. If people can't believe who you are and you can't show your skills and it's about a resume, screw them. Just walk on down the street. Really, go find somebody who appreciates who you are. As long as you have the substance. You got to have the substance. Understand when you get out of here, you're going to keep learning. And you might not be learning about coding. You're going to be learning about business, or you're going to be learning about marketing, or you're going to be learning about human resources. You're going to be learning about sales. You're going to be learning about something. Just remember, school doesn't stop when you exit it. It's every day. And you're here because you wanted to be here, because you're curious, you're passionate. You just have to take that same passion outside of here, right? Come back and find more great brains to come and work with you somewhere, right? That's what it's about. So the first thing is understand you are going to continually adapt and change and evolve, and you need to keep learning. Lifelong learning through others, through reading, through classes, or just by doing, learning by doing, right? That's what you do. You learn by doing. You're in classes in a way, but you're really learning by doing. And that's the best way to learn, the absolutely best way to learn. So just remember to keep learning and keep trying, and keep meeting people and sharing ideas. That's the only advice I have. Sorry, I wish I was better. There's no magic here. There's really no magic. It just takes a lot of work. Good. Well, look, you're here for a reason, and you know what it is. Not everyone here does. You're here not for that degree, right? Most other people go to school because they need a degree. I'm going to wear that. You're here because you want something you want to learn, something you're curious on. That's the best way. That's the absolute best way. So you've already tapped in it. Just keep using it all throughout your life. Okay. All right. I am hot. It's hot. You know what? We got to get Xavier to put some air conditioning. Xavier, come on. We got probably hundreds of gigabits of data and no air. I'm just curious. Just playing around. All right. Well, is this good, or will we have more time? Do you have more questions? Oh, looks like we have more. We'll keep going. Is it okay? We keep going? Okay. Can I get some? Dulo? Oh.
And we have a little video about Nest, maybe.
Oh, yeah. We'll do that in a minute. We'll do that in a minute. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
How about,
in fact, when I look, what's the split, male to female?
It's 10% female, right?
10%. We got to fix that.
Give me some advice.
We gotta fix it. Yeah, I know. We gotta make it more sexy. We gotta make it more sexy. But I think we are. Actually, you know what? When I started, it was horrible. Geeks, man. I was kicked around. Yeah. Ha-ha, motherfuckers. You do what's passionate, and that's what's cool. Look, everybody's a geek. Everybody's a geek. Maybe they're a finance geek, or a math geek, or a computer science geek, or a hardware geek. Everybody's a geek. They're all geeks. If they're good, they better be geeks. They love it. They love the minerals, rocks, architecture. If they're really good, they're a geek. You should be proud of it. I'm very proud of it. So, and my wife's like, there's sports geeks, but that's people who watch sports, not do it. So, be proud of being where you differentiate. You should keep it yours. Where you just need tools and basic stuff, it should be spread around, right? And we're moving up the stack, right? We're moving up the stack from CPUs and memory systems and drivers and operating systems and frameworks, and each of those things over time are opening them up. But then over here, application is differentiation, and it's not open. So it just depends. Each thing you know, because if you want a business and you want to be able to work with people and have an ongoing enterprise, you need to be able to have something that's of value for your customer, right? You know, we can't just open everything because then it's chaos. Geez, look at OpenSSL. It's open. Man, a little too open. We're actually got to fund it. We got to fund it. The businesses have to fund it to make sure it's secure. Otherwise, we're all in peril, right? So, you know, it's not a panacea. Oh, absolutely. I mandate at our company that we bring in women in certain roles because at Nest, and right after this we'll show the video, but at Nest, our customer is the woman of the home, not the male. And we have to have marketing, and we have to have design, and we have to have user interfaces and everything that are not just male specific, right? We have to be, if you make a product that's much more female, males will, you know, unless it's pink and everything, but, you know, males will tend to that. But if you make it very male, women don't usually resonate with it. So you have to have a nice blend because, you know, at least that's our customer base. You know, if you're making some, you know, action shooter, blah, 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 you know, well, maybe that's a little different market, you know, and a little different way you think about your customer. But it just depends. It all depends. And so we'll run the video now so you can get a little sense of, maybe you already know this, and it's not supposed to be an ad. It just shows you kind of what we do. And it's not just about the engineering. It's about the marketing, the sales, how we talk to our customers, how we engage with our customers, how we do social and all that stuff. So it's just a little something so you can see that it takes more than just having a great idea and even just a great product anymore and great legal team, but lots of different things to put together a big company.
Okay.
We ready? Allez!
It's something called Nest Learning Thermostat. I want to kiss it. I love this.
It just seems like a no-brainer.
That just gives you an example of, you know, you can take anything unloved, ignored, and you can actually turn it into something that's, well, at least for us, we think is magical. And we think that customers think so too. So that's, you know, it takes all of those things. It takes not just engineers, but engineers thinking about the customer, engineers thinking about marketing. I'm an engineer, I'm not a marketer. But that's what we put together with really other smart people who know what their discipline is and can do it really well. And taking chances. All right, any more questions? All right. Okay, you've asked a couple, so right here. Sorry, I don't mean to ignore you. No, I understand. Should you stay independent, or should you? And why wouldn't you just want to be your own boss all the time? When that changes?
Yeah.
Well, luckily he's very young. No, we can be fearful of lots of things, and we can take things to an illogical extent. But at the end of the day, we're trying to change the world. And it was our discussions, my discussions with Larry and their senior management team and their board of directors, and really understanding what we were trying to do and understanding our vision, and them, we understanding them and vice versa, to allow this to happen. We wouldn't have done it. It wasn't a marriage for money. Marriages for money don't work. It's a marriage for changing the world, right? So we wanted to take this everywhere. I couldn't have come to France as fast as we're going to do in just a few weeks with Nest if it wasn't for them. So it's about, what do you want to do? Our goal is to change the world, hopefully in a very positive manner. But sometimes that chance presents itself. Other times, sure, you maybe want to just do your thing in your way. Our team had changed the world twice, once with the iPod and once with the iPhone. We want to do it again. It's that simple. It's a personal choice. But why do you go after Google and say, oh, what about Apple, or what about Samsung, or what about this? They have lots of market share. They own lots of things. They have lots of money. They buy lots of things. That's absolutely not true. Okay, I think we've had enough of this question, but we build a ton of things. A ton of things. I think, don't read all of the French left media, okay, or even the right media. Go and learn, Trust me, I've seen a lot of the things the media says about all kinds of things. Because I've been working with the press for 20 years. Don't believe everything you read, okay? Go learn for yourself and then make your judgment. Don't take by public opinion. Seriously. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't really believe in this. It wasn't for money. Yeah, because many startup entrepreneurs believe that raising money is a success. It's absolutely not. It's the exact opposite. If you have to raise money for your idea and you have to tell the world about it, it means you don't have something really valuable, and it's either your ego or you're worried. Right? So why do you tell the world about it? Because it's either your ego, because you want it before it's a success. Tell the world about the product. Don't tell your world about, hey, I just raised money. Who the hell cares? Right? Tell them about the product. Tell them how you're making the place better. Now, obviously, there's momentum, but people, they go, oh, we won. No, you just earned your right to go to the next stage. And our goal was always to stay very, very quiet, stay very humble, and one day, boom, it's big. But you can exhaust the press very quickly. They'll be like, yeah. It took you 6 months to finally ship? Finally it shipped. It took forever. The internet time is very quickly with the press. And many people think that getting press for raising money or doing some small little thing is really important. It's not. It's what you really do and what you really ship. When people can really buy it or put their hands on or use it, that's when it's important. And that's when you should work with the press and other people to make it big. Oh, we had press trying to hack our Wi-Fi network to find out what we were doing. Because we just said, hey, everybody, this is really important that we keep it quiet, and let's do the right thing, and let's use that moment in time when it's fresh and new to ship and let the world know when it's right. Not give away our ideas early and let everybody else copy it quickly, right, or catch up. You got it. There's an art of, of underground, working and making sure, looking around and just making sure you got the right thing, and then come to market and surprise everybody. When you tell everybody all your stories, nobody wants to hear them. They care when you're like, keep them secret. They're like, what's that secret? What's that secret? What are they working on? Right? Everybody wants that bit of information. So, I won't get into my analogy because it's probably not appropriate. All right. Let's see. Yes?
Do you expect success when you work with your experience?
No, I don't expect success. I hope success, but don't ever expect it. I hope it. There were times in my career when I was your age that I expected success, or people told me you're going to be so successful. And then you weren't. And it's like, ugh. Like, you're like, my life's over. No, you hope for it. You hope, but don't plan that you will. So you hope that's successful, and you just keep your head down, be humble, do what you do, and you hope that you're successful, and one day it might come. Because there's lots of failure along the way, and make sure you learn. But don't get so wrapped up into it, because I've seen people, unfortunately, commit suicide because of it. Because they weren't able to make that success that people thrust upon them because they say, oh, you're going to be successful, and this is going to be the best idea ever. And they're like, yes, it is. And then when it's not, because sometimes it's not, a lot of times it's not, you got to make sure you understand the idea is separate from you. And it doesn't mean that you had a bad idea. It just means you might not have thought of it properly. And you learn from it and you move on. So do not expect success. Expect that you will fail, and expect that you're going to have to put a lot of hard work into it. And maybe one day will happen, but you're going to follow your passion. You're going to follow your dream. And you're going to get other people to do that. And then that's usually when it happens. It happens like that. But it takes a lot of... it just means people. It means, do you have people who you can talk to about certain things? And, a lot of people in this world think, I'm only going to talk to somebody if they can give me something of value right now. I'm only going to meet you, or you, or you. What can you teach me? What business can we do? I don't care who you are unless you can teach me something. You can give me knowledge. That's a way a lot of people work in this world. I don't care about any of you. I'm only going to work with the most successful person because none of you matter. No. The different people that you interact with, it's that relationship. It's not today. You meet them, you might have some interesting things in common, and okay, that's neat. And 5 years from now, maybe you remember that person. You talk to them again. They go, oh, yeah, that was a good guy. Or good girl. That's a good person. I want to work with them, or let's talk again. You never know where this stuff leads. So don't always look at every interaction with a person to be something that you're going to get economic value from immediately. Look for relationships. Then you'll figure out whether or not, over time, that's a valued relationship in some other manner. You don't know. And so don't look to cash out immediately. Look to build a network, because that's a support network. You're going to help them sometimes, and you're not going to get value. And sometimes they're going to help you, and they're not going to get value. It's about this give and take. And you work together, and it expands, and your reputation gets out there. Oh, he's a good person. She's a good person. Talk to them. They might help you with that. And you say, oh, okay. And then one day, they'll come back to help you. And usually every time you help somebody, it'll come back 5x better. You don't have to go overboard and, work for free and all that stuff. But you know what I'm saying. Spread the knowledge, spread the information, spread the things for people you trust and you would like to maybe someday work with or just be friends with. And then it comes back in droves, in droves, in droves. Yes?
What are your thoughts on artificial intelligence?
AI. Well, we do it with Nest. Right? We have machine learning in Nest. We have machine learning in both of our products in Nest. It's helped us save 2.5 billion kilowatt hours without people having to program, because we learn from you. Our artificial intelligence learns from what you do and predicts what you want. And so we've been able to save energy without making anybody uncomfortable. And we saved enough power to run the US for 30 minutes. 30 minutes, and we're in just a thermostat. So it's very powerful stuff. You might have seen DeepMind. You guys know what DeepMind is? Have you seen DeepMind? Check it out if you haven't. It's coming, and there's some really great things you can do with it. And it's not like the Borg taking over. It's about helping. And so look at it. We're now on the cusp where we can run it actually on these kinds of products. We can do all kinds of amazing things with it. And there's even more to the hardest positions for us to hire: machine learning, embedded software, if you can't believe it, embedded software, machine learning, and then apps programming, just because everybody in the world is making an app. Those are the three most prized software-oriented. Should they? Yes. Will they? Probably no, because they have to worry about their citizens, right? They have to worry about who is going to give them money so they can get elected and all those things. Don't get me started on politics. You can go all night. But I much rather see this kind of thing, where it's grassroots. An amazing person like Xavier can bring this up, because then you can write your own rules. When the government gets involved, there's lots of rules that probably make no sense. Or, governments are reactive and not proactive, right? Reactive, not proactive. So whatever we try to do, they'll come and litigate or whatever after it. So you just keep doing, pushing ahead, and the government will fall behind, come from behind at some point. But just keep pushing ahead. I wouldn't count on the government to do that. It takes individuals, amazing individuals.
Quick question.
Sure. We gotta go.
No. The French minister is coming to say hello to you.
Talk about government.
Just to warn you.
Okay. Thank you.
Where do I watch?
What? What about the iWatch? Oh man. Okay. Okay. I just went on this diatribe. I was at LVMH before, talking about watches because they were like, "There's never going to be a smartwatch. No one wants a smartwatch." But at the end of the day, it's about information. So this was an information device up till about 10 years ago. Yes? Then we got these, and the same exact information was here, right? So this is redundant. It's more convenient, yes, but it became jewelry, became fashion, more fashion than information. It's now flipping. It's going to become information, very critical information, quick access information. Then it will become fashion again after everybody has it. So it'll be about information. The balance of battery life, the balance of information, the right balance of information, not too much, not too little. All of those things are finally getting dialed in. And it's about ready for that. Now, is it going to be health related? Is it going to be information related? What have you? Depends.
Tony, we're sorry.
You're sorry?
We're going to cut you.
No, it's okay.
Let me introduce you, Mr. Laurent Fabius, Foreign Minister from
Foreign Affairs. How are you? Fine.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Enchanté.
Oh, but you speak fluent French?
No, yeah, un petit peu.
Well,
I'm an American citizen. They can throw me in jail. Watch out. I'll need Xavier to get me out. Strike all that stuff from the camera. We have business to do in France. No, look, governments are governments, and they work the way they do. But don't let them stop you or start you. Okay. Yes?
Do you think crowdfunding is a good way to finance something?
You mean like Kickstarter or Indiegogo?
Could you have started Nest through Kickstarter?
Oh, that's a great question. So what do I think of it? What do I think? Okay. So there are certain projects on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or something like that. I'm sure you probably have a French equivalent or an EU equivalent. What is it called? Just so I know.
Kickstarter.
Is it Kickstarter? Yeah? Okay. So it depends on your project. So are you making a book? Are you making a film? Are you making something like that? It's great. You can have a little business that way. If you're trying to do software or hardware or some of the other bigger projects that you have, it's a good way to get market validation from the geeks. Geeks buy on Kickstarter the things that they really want because they hope that it's got, not regular people. Geeks buy it because geeks want that. Oh, finally, I got the blah, 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 with the letter. Okay, maybe a few times in a while it's, it's a bigger mass thing, but it's typically a small business. You can show validation, you can get started that way, but you will not create your business through crowdfunding. You can get started, but you will not continue your business because what happens is the money that you sell your product for is the money it takes to just make that product. Not to design the product, not to pay all the people, to make sure all of these things happen. It's just the amount of money you need to make the product. There's all this other stuff behind. So what you do is you take the market validation and you go to investors to get the money you need to create a real business. Many of these projects take multiple iterations. You run into all kinds of problems along the way. You've seen many Kickstarter things fail because they think it's easy. They think it can be done. But it's really hard to build a lot of this stuff. So what you need is a good set of investors and people around you to help make sure that dream stays alive because you're going to run into all kinds of difficulties. So, I have like 20, 30 Kickstarter things that I back and Indiegogo things. And, each week I get another email from them that say, we ran into this difficulty and we ran into this and schedules slipped and like it reads like one of our projects inside. We just don't publish it to the world, you know, because this stuff's hard. So crowdfunding, great for certain things that are very predictable, books or what have you. Maybe not even movies, but books, something like that. But for these kinds of B2G, business to geek products, it's very difficult, but they're good to get market validation that you're on the right track, but you need a lot more resources to actually make the product and then make a business out of the product or products. Okay? And could we do it next? If you didn't have necessarily the resources, it would be good for validation. But the issue would be is you're also telling competition what you're doing. And then competition go, oh, I want to do that too. So if you look, there's like 25 Nest copycats on Kickstarter. You think 25 copycats on Kickstarter that has one extra feature. You remember the checkbox of features? You know, oh, it has that because Nest doesn't have it, and Nest doesn't have that. They're like, whatever. Good luck trying. I know how hard it is to make this stuff, right? So every time I kind of go, yeah, okay, because all the people's like, oh, but this one. I'm like, yeah, right. Wait 2 more years. Wait 3 more years till it actually ships, if it ever does. So you got to have support resources. Okay. How much time we got? Because do we take Bitcoin? No. Because the exchange rate's too hard. I don't know what the exchange rate is. It changes daily. Bitcoin's very interesting. I think the blockchain's most interesting. And blockchains can be applied to many different things, not just currency. Property. Any kind of property or assets where blockchain's very interesting. It's in its infancy. I think there's something there. I think the governments have no idea what's going on. They don't know whether to embrace it, to shut it down, what have you. I think it's going to be incredible turmoil, and it might be a really great place to be. May not be. I don't know. I really don't. I have no magic ball. But if it interests you and you're passionate about it, what the hell? Right? You want to go where other people are like, wow, that's really interesting. You always, you know, if it's really interesting and you find a way to find something that people haven't seen yet inside that thing and exploit it, try it. You know, you're young. So that here, I'll go on another thing. Look, you're young. This is the one point in your life when you can take lots of risks, really, really, really big risks. You don't have a family. Or maybe most of you don't. You don't have a family. You don't have people counting on you. If you fail, or you run out of money or whatever, you can fall back on something, friends or what have you. You don't have a lot to lose. So take the risks. Take the risks now. Don't wait for somebody to hand you an opportunity. Take the risks now, because it only gets harder and harder and harder as you get older when you have more things to lose. Because you're going to be like, oh, I have this, and I have to worry about that, so I have to go work for a big company because I have to have a stable income and all of these things. Take the risk now. This is the time when you get to make the decisions for yourself. When you get older, you have to consider many more people and many more things to make a decision about your life. When you were young, you didn't get to really decide. Your parents decided much of stuff for you, what you're going to eat and this and what you're going to wear. And then when you get to high school, you get a little bit. But for the most part, and you're here because you decided to be here. Well, continue those bold risk-taking decisions. And you can do it now. It's going to get really hard. But this is when you can get the most experience. And it's great to see you all here because you're taking that risk. Keep taking it. This is the time to do it. You know, as you get older, it's going to get a lot harder. So just don't stop here. Okay. Yes. So I said 2 more questions. Okay. My vision for the future? Jeez. What? I'm doing Nest. That's what we're doing. That's what I want to do. I'm doing that because it's just deep inside me that it needs to get fixed. Like I said, going through all those houses around the world and seeing everybody has these problems, and that we have resource problems, we have environmental problems, and we can solve a lot of those things. We can add sex to the environment problems, and people will buy it, and it will become valuable, and they will love it, and they will help the environment at the same time they get something, hopefully a magical experience out of it. That's what we want to do, and that's what I'm really passionate about doing. Well, you better know that if you're going to ask people for money. How much you need? I don't know. I don't know if I'm investing in this guy. Well, you just have to understand what the scale is of your vision and your first step, and understand and find like-minded people. So, you know, you don't want to be underfunded, and you don't want to have too much money. You can't do anything without any money. You have to have some money, but don't take too little and don't take too much. You have to have the right amount, and it depends on what you're trying to build and what you're trying to create and right-size it. And then from there, if you need $1 million, if you need $50,000, yeah, maybe it's a few people. If you need $1 million, well, depends on your track record and all those other things. Maybe you can get it from one person or 5 people or 10 people. It all depends on your network and your idea and your pitch, because you got to be a salesperson as well. You're not just an engineer. Okay. Thank you. Ah, now he shows up. This is the real guy.